Hello YouTube, this is Charlie426 and today we have the review of the Toy Notch Astrobots Vulkan. So once again, Toy Notch is the company name and the brand is called Astrobots, and then this specific mecha or figure name is called Vulcan. Now this is from the Astrobots line. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys might have seen the Jobby the Hong's review of the first two Astrobots figures, which was Apollo and Argus. I have also reviewed those as well, although very much later. But once again, these are original designed figurines, and they are very top notch. Like, these are still, if I had to choose, if someone asked me what's the best figure that has the best articulation and sturdiness and etc., I think yeah, the Toy Notch Astrobot line would come into my list first right away, because they're just very fun to play with, and then they're just very well made. Alright, so yeah, so once again, if you are interested in the first two designs, do check my review out. I will leave a link in the description below for those who want to check them out. Now, there won't be any comparisons with the previous two, because once again, those are still at my parents' house, and once again, I moved out, so same story as usual. So anyway, let's get on to the review right away. So as you can see, this guy is extremely huge, tall, and bulky. So once again, if you are planning to display this guy with your collection, make sure you have enough space, and make sure to plan ahead on how you're going to pose these gigantic arms as well. Just to give you guys an idea, here is a standard 1:144 scale HG kit from Bandai, Bandai's Gunpla line. You can see the enormous size design. So this would be even more. If I would compare this with, for example, a Masquerade, Masquerade Dragon, which is 1:1 scale, the Dragon would be much taller. But once again, in terms of bulkiness, this guy would still win. So just giving you guys a general idea. Alright, so let's see what we got. Let's start with the head, and there is one thing I cannot show because I have figured it out way too late. Alright, so the thing I am not being able to show is the lights or the LED function. So once again, back in the first two, Apollo and Argus, you would put batteries inside the back, which this also has the same structure. And then for those previously, if you click on the head, then the eyes would glow. Now this guy does not have that function, but instead, once again, here is the battery compartment. You have to take off the screw, and requires, I think this time it's a different size battery. So I believe the previous two use LR44s, but I could be remembering it wrong. But this one, in this case, they require something much smaller, which is called AG2 battery. So you need two AG2 batteries. So these are much smaller and I think flatter than the LR44 battery. So that's that. But let's say if you did have those batteries and put it in, you can push this button here, I believe, and then the LEDs would glow here as well. So that's a small function, but once again, I don't think it's being a lighter function. I don't think not many people will take it too seriously, but it's a nice bonus. All right, so let's see what we got. So if you actually had the previous Apollo or Argus, you might have think this guy is like an armored up version of that guy, but no, this is actually an entirely different character. But I can see what they were going with. All right, so let's start with the head as usual. So the head, proportion wise, it may look a little bit small, but once again, that's just the whole way of balancing things up. So the head can go down that far and upwards, pretty well done. And then 360 is going to be the more tricky part, because there's not enough space, and then the joint here is extremely stiff. So yeah, I don't think it's really recommended that you try to go 360 on here as well. Even I'm struggling to get the head back to normal. There we go. Once again, the articulation here is pretty much enough to pull off anything that you want to do so. All right, so now let's get rid of the simple ones first. So let's look at the regular arms here. So the regular arms, you can see they're well jointed, but you can see that it doesn't move that much, but you can actually pull them out to get actually more movement here as well. So that's very well done. And then going 360 is obviously technically possible, but you're gonna have to work your way around. So you're gonna have to do something like this. And then once again, the arm itself has a 360 twist here. And then bend wise, you have a very nice bend here all the way upwards. Hands can rotate on here. Keep in mind, this is a figurine, not a model kit. And then for those who tried the previous ones should know the hands are fantastic. Each finger has multiple joints, and then you can actually spread out the fingers like this if you want to do so. Even the thumb, and they each have these middle joints that you can actually move around as well. So very well done. So you can practically do any pose that a human hand can do as well, even the all sorts of stuff as well. So very, very well done. Now the Astrobots do have like an attachment, like equipment set as well. So, and I assume this tab here is meant for that as well. So yeah. All right. Now one thing is that this one definitely feels much more stiffer than the previous two. So you're gonna have to just be aware of that part. And then once again here, the body, you still have the very nice ab crunch going on here as well. And then side to side, not so much, but there is a little bit of wiggle, and then it's going side to side is possible. Now 360 is technically possible, but make sure you have everything not hitting any parts at all. Oh, there we go. And then yeah, looking at the back, oops, actually let me just, dealing with these gigantic arms on the side will get tricky. On the back, nothing too special here, but we do have this canister thing that mentions reserve tank, so I think that's like a backup power unit thing. But once again, it does fall at least on mine, this does detach here, but not exactly just the canister itself, because you can see it's a molded piece here. So yeah, and I'm not sure what's going on here, but I see that this thing is trying to split up here, so I might need to fix that. So for now, let me just take this off for now, just for the sake of convenience. Now, the previous two units did not have any front skirts, side skirts, or back skirts, but this one in this case does have one. They can go upwards, and then side skirts also upwards, and then the back skirt also upwards as well. Although their joints do not seem the best stableness, but I think they will, they will do the job. And I have noticed, like, these parts, I assume they just made one side and then just, reverse the other sides, which is why we have this kind of design here. Nothing too, no big deal. Yep. And then, once again, you can see it has the side swivel as well, going forward 90 degrees, no problem. Backwards should be no problem as well. And then going to the side, man, these arms. Going to the side, no problem as well. So articulation here, no problem should be present. And then bend-wise, despite how bulky, despite how bulky the legs look, you do get a decent bend. Although, yeah, this is as far as you go, because this is just more of the design here. So, design of the part. So, yeah, if it was a much more slimmer design, it would go more. So, just keeping you that, and definitely has that armored up feeling. You can see this thing is armored up very tightly. So I've tried doing stuff, but there's no way to detach these stuff, because some parts are just single molded pieces as well. So yeah. And then despite how big the feet is, you do get a very nice pivot joint here as well. So very well done. And then foot wise, we do have a nice front feet bend, and then I believe the back part not so much. Yeah. I mean, there is a little bit of wiggle, but I don't think that's meant to move on its own. So you do have the front part, and then the toes also move a little bit so that you can have some more adjustability. You can see I'm actually struggling to show these parts because this figure is a little bit big and bulky, and it's colliding pretty much every section of my setup. All right, we've seen the basic articulation. Now let's talk about these gigantic arms here that are popping out on the sides. So yeah, this is pretty much the main reason I bought this guy, because I love the overall design and concept here, because we see a lot of like in-game content where you summon the beast that has like gigantic arms, and you can, you move your arms and the beast will move the same as well. Kind of like that concept. I really wanted to have something like this. I know in Gunpla there is also something similar, but I did not get as well. But yeah. So we have these two gigantic arms as well. So as you can see, rotating them, no problem. 360, no problem as well. But if you want to have a little bit more, adjustment, you can actually pull them out, and then you can see you have these joints. You have these joints you have a little bit control of. So make sure, although you're gonna need to like adjust a little bit by bit, but yeah. So it works pretty well, and then you can also move like that. These parts are a little bit too stiff, so just be aware how to use these parts as well. So, but yeah, in general they work pretty well. So going upwards, downwards, no problem as well. Now I believe there is a way that if you want to rotate these parts, it is possible. So I will show that in the demonstration as well. And then the other side of the arms, you can go up all the way to the side, and let me just put these back in. Yeah, so difficult. And then all the way downwards as well. Bend wise, rotation wise, there's also another rotation here, so no big deal. And bend wise, also pretty much the same as the arms, no big deal as well. Now we have this some sort of a pile driver kind of looking part here, but this part does not move at all. So I think it would have been really cool if they had some sort of spring gimmick where you can just, you know, push it in and out, but that's just me. And now we have the drill. Now the drill also rotates as well. And if you've seen the promo pictures, you might have seen claws on this guy. So how do you get the claws? All you need to do is just pull out the drill and you're good to go. And here are the claws. So the spinning part is the claw itself, so go figure. Now, for those who've seen some earlier promo pictures of the next guy, Toy Notch tend to make two versions of the same character. Well, not exactly the same character, but two versions of the character of a different faction. So Apollo and Argus, they're not exactly the same, but they have like similar bases. And they're in different factions as far as I understood the story. There's another guy which is colored in black and red scheme and has actual fists instead of these claw arms. So I'm kind of curious what the story of that guy is as well. So once again, these claws actually move as well. So we have the first joint here and then the second joint here. So once again, if you know how to grab stuff, it is technically possible to like grab onto stuff as well. So yeah, pretty cool. These are actually functioning claws. Alright, and that is pretty much it for these gigantic arms. So once again, I'll be right back with one demonstration and we'll call it a day. Okay, I'm back. So here we have a simple demonstration going on here. So once again, you can pretty much lift anything you want to do so. The joints are pretty stable and tight enough where it's not going to droop down on its own. And once again, because it's a 3-claw style, grabbing onto things might be tricky, but it is possible as well. Now for the position of these gigantic arms, apparently you have to, you can't just twist them on your own. So if you want to change the position of this, like forward, for example, this is what you gotta do. First, you close up, and then you can see there's actually a there you go. You can see there's a small tab or shape there. You have to match the joints there, and then you have to twist as well in order to change the position as well. So let's say I want to put the joints forward, so I twist this, pull it out, and then I spin here. So now this part is actually moving on its own, but previously it was very tight. So I think there might be like some sort of locking mechanism that I do not understand, but as previously I tried to twist it on my own, it did not work. So maybe there is some sort of a locking mechanism, but I'm not aware of. But still, that's the way how this works. And once again, if you can master the joints, which joint is where and how they move, you can pretty much pull off any pose you want to do so. Anyway, that is pretty much it for the review. So once again, this was the review of the Toy Notch Astrobots Vulkan. I am absolutely happy of my purchase as well, because I actually bought this with my YouTube ad revenue, and I have no regrets as well. And there is actually another design that I'm waiting for it to release. Actually, make that two, because there's this one that has like not as bulky as this guy, but has these pile drivers or pistons on the arms here, on his actual arms here. So I'm actually waiting for that design. And then there's another one that looks like some sort of a like a king, like emperor type, where he's holding this gigantic sword and it has this beast mode kind of going on here. So I'm also very looking forward for that release as well. Anyway, thanks for watching the review. This was the review of the Toy Notch Astrobots Vulkan. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.